All right. Audio's good. Video, we're good. All right. Yeah, man, we're just gonna get right into it. I'm not really I don't even have a script for today. Normally I have like some type of sheet, but I feel like when we link up, like you mentioned off camera in the elevator, like we just have that chemistry. We already know exactly what we want to talk about, what we want to know.
Yes.
And even like through the DMs when you hit me up, I knew you were excited to link up, and I was excited to link up because we're both actively moving and stuff. So I was saying it's like the Batman and Superman vibes and shit. And I was
I like that. I like that a lot.
except I'd probably be Iron Man.
You think so?
I like Iron Man.
I like Batman. I'm not gonna lie. I like Batman. I like how he uses
He's a top dog.
What's at his fingertips. They don't make him. You know what's crazy is they make Tony Stark seem like a genius.
Yeah.
But if you really think about it, Batman's a genius.
Yeah, he's like legitimately calculated with his decision making and shit.
Batman kills Superman in the comics.
Yeah, that is
I mean?
true.
So I think the strongest man to ever live. So Superman's like Batman's always been a genius to me, and so I love him. Obviously, he has the money too, and even his persona, he always rolls with the two girls and drives the dope whips. But at the end of the day, he's just whooping ass and saving lives.
Are you excited to see that new one with Robert Pattinson?
I just seen the preview last night for that.
Yep.
So, but short answer, yes, I am excited
to
see. I love any Batman movie.
Yeah.
How did you think Ben Stiller did when he was Batman?
I don't know. I kind of didn't fuck with him like that. I don't know. It didn't sit well with me. I feel like the one that with the Dark Knight, you know what I'm saying? Like that trilogy.
Yeah.
That was a really like classic. You know what I mean? Just the way they perceived how Batman was and his swag and like how he was able to just, save the city and people not even knowing until later on, right? And
Yeah.
I don't remember the full story. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I remember watching it in theaters. It was lit.
I loved Bane. Batman.
Yeah, that motherfucker was next level though. He was next level for sure. And a lot of people, I feel like they, didn't realize how good those bad guy characters would be. The Joker, what's his name? Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah.
He did a good job with the Joker role. But the most recent one, that's not even the guy that passed away, Heath Ledger.
Yeah, he
killed that shit.
They said he stole the show.
He did. It's kind of hard for anyone to replicate another Batman and shit. But yeah, man, so this isn't even like how I normally start the podcast.
It's all good.
This is me just vibing with you right now.
That's all good.
But yeah, so pretty much to answer your question, what you said earlier, Emlyn Podcast. This is a rebranded. So the way we did it before, it was called the Low Key Facts Podcast.
Okay.
And that was more like, let's just get content going. Let's do it. There wasn't no thought into the name.
For sure.
Emlyn Podcast, I feel like when people saw the Low Key Facts Podcast, they called it the Emlyn Podcast. So I was like, just branding, and people already identify the orange logo and they have familiarity with it. It just kind of made sense. But the purpose of the podcast is the art of vision. It's about, how people are able to manifest an idea into reality. And basically,
wow, that's powerful.
That looks like a lot of things. You know what I mean? It could be building some type of big infrastructure, building someone that can create a blueprint and create an actual building, or someone that has an idea, a brand, some type of content they want to create, and they actually do it and get people to enjoy and love it. Like, that's the art of vision. You know what I mean?
Dope.
And I feel like a lot of people wouldn't grasp that because, they're not doing these things. But it comes in many ways. There's other ways of doing it and manifesting it. So the purpose of the podcast is we want to highlight people that, do that in their own ways. And most importantly, I want to bring value to the viewers and the people that are listening that are pursuing entrepreneurship or are an artist or create content or just do this type of stuff that's creative and hear other people's perspective, especially here in Silicon Valley. We have a lot of underrepresented talent out here that I feel doesn't get acknowledged because we're not LA or we're not New York or we're not, one of these big capitals, even though we technically are, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's covered by the tech blanket and just like the innovations that come from Silicon Valley.
For sure.
So long story short, I'm going to introduce my guest that is here today, the homie JD, Mr. Jondel Sparks, a.k.a. Part of the Culture.
Part of the Culture. That's my name now.
Yeah, you are part of the culture. Officially.
So, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to have me here. As you were talking about, your podcast and the vision, there's a story that popped in my head, like a little anecdotal story. And it talks about, a man, he had a house. And he put a rug in it, and he seen that he could put a rug and he can change it. And then he added a window, and he seen it was good, and he realized that with his home, he could do anything he wanted to it. and he could put his vision and he could change the home to however he wanted. And so it's a powerful feeling when you can first put that rug, or when you first do that first thing. Like for you, it's a powerful feeling when you start that podcast.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Because it leads, the rug was just one thing, and then it leads to the windows, then it leads to the couches. So it definitely helps build. When you're creative and you create something, it doesn't just stop with the thing that you created. It helps you create so much more. So I love that you have the podcast, and I already know before I even ask, like, it's probably turned into so much more for you. Has the podcast turned into more for you?
Definitely. It's funny how you reversed that. Like, you became the host right now. You seen that? But no, that's a good question. I think it has. I mentioned it evolved from doing it with my friends in the garage back in the South Side in 2016, 17. This is when I was inspired by just the creativity. Started bringing people that I knew, just like who I could like call and be like, hey, what's up, come through. And then it ended up me like DMing people on Instagram that I didn't know, and people that were even geographically outside of San Jose. And I'm like, hey, would you be willing to come to San Jose and do a podcast? And eventually I started bringing in artists from like Oakland and Berkeley. I had someone come all the way from Vallejo, and it just made me feel like, damn, people are actually willing to come all the way over here just to be a part of this production. And then it kind of eventually made me realize, like, our whole city is so huge, but there's other markets outside, and I feel like I was able to break in other markets with the content, and eventually it introduced new people with new ideas. It introduced different projects that I never knew existed, and I started getting inspired. So to answer your question, it did impact in the sense of like how I thought vision wise.
Yeah.
But in the sense of like what I've been doing, is nothing has changed. I'm just bringing dope people and having dope conversations. You know what I mean?
Dope. That's dope.
So yeah, I mean, that's the best way I can answer that. But, I kind of want to pivot this really quick and talk about, why you're even here, and just kind of like for the people that maybe not have seen the previous podcast that we did.
Sure.
For the ones that haven't, definitely take the time to watch it, because we had a chance to break down some of the courses that he's actively pushing. You have some projects, you got the podcast, you're doing real estate. You also even created a recent course for people that want to get into Airbnb real estate, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I haven't released an official course on Airbnb, but I'm definitely laying the groundwork for it. I've definitely been sharing all of my experiences with Airbnb. I've been trying to be transparent. I'll show my Airbnb for the people, because my thing is that, I could keep all the knowledge and all the game to myself, but I learned a long time from Eric Thomas, like, if you want to succeed, help other people succeed. And so with the Airbnb, I just know that brown people, I'll say it, and even, even some white people, we aren't given access to information, or we hear these things like, oh, you could do an Airbnb, oh, you can do real estate, oh, you can do all these things. But I share the experience because, and I teach because, it makes me a better hustler, but I also teach because no one showed us, you know what I mean? No one showed a young JD how to start an Airbnb. I'm 35. I could have been doing this stuff. I could have been, investing in real estate. I could have been having properties. I could have been a landlord. I could have been had storefronts. I could have been doing all this stuff if somebody would have been there for me to teach me. So I try to just be that guiding light so that you guys can get to the bag and get to your dreams just a little bit quicker.
And that speaks a lot about, just kind of how you approach things. Because I remember last time we talked, you say, your perspective of just like when you do certain things, you don't do it out of building something for yourself. You do it out of servicing another person or helping someone build, helping them build their vision. So is that kind of like the same approach you have now still, even though, that was like almost a whole year, you know what I mean? That was last March.
That's crazy.
So it's almost been a year since we fucking did a podcast.
Did the pandemic start when that happened?
It did.
It was just starting, huh?
It just started, yep.
So it was like, that was, I don't even remember like we were wearing masks or anything at that time. I think it was like pre-mask.
Yeah, it was definitely pre-mask.
That's crazy to think about. But so anyone listening to this that has a brand, anybody who wants to become more successful, I want to write an article, or I want to, like, my next book is going to be called Service 10 People, because everybody wants like whatever, a bigger house, a bigger car, or a doper, and they always start with like what they want, but at no point do we have not, it's not our fault. We have not been trained to service other people. And if people need to stop and realize who are the most successful people financially on this planet, who are the most richest entertainers on this planet? And if you can think about why are they so successful? Why are they so rich? Because they serve the most people. So when you think of Bill Gates, he became a billionaire because his software was in every computer in the world. So he served the whole world. If you think of Elon Musk he sold 500,000 cars in 2020. That's 500,000 people he serviced just from that one business. Elon Musk also sent satellites to space. He serviced the whole United States.
They just touched down in Mars too.
You know what I mean?
Yesterday.
Elon Musk is sending spaceships to Mars. He's servicing people. He's servicing even the future. If you think about who do we all know? Amazon, Jeff Bezos. That motherfucker's serving everybody in the world. Walmart. Why are they successful? Service, 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 service. And so a lot of these brands want to be successful, but at no point do they serve anybody. At no point is their goal to serve everybody. So when I wake up in the morning, I'm like, who can I serve? You know what I mean? It actually hurts me physically inside when I can't do my job properly. And I'm having to get over that. Like, but that it hurts like when I can't serve properly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So service is the name of the game. Like, I think that's damn, like, even if you look at biblically, like, what is Jesus like? Serve others. It's better to give than to receive. Like, I just think service is like, it's a secret weapon because everybody's me, jewelry, me, I'm shining. But if you serve others and you focus on that, that's really how you secure the bag.
I definitely agree with what you're speaking on, because I feel like, you even feel it when you help someone in some type of way. You know what I mean? Even if it's like something like just simple as holding the door, that's some type of, something that makes you feel good. And imagine if you're impacting on a higher volume level, like I can imagine how much impact a person can have. And you're talking about Elon Musk too, and it's crazy, like just how he's been able to navigate throughout these times, this pandemic. I remember seeing him showcase the Cybertruck, and he was throwing the rock and it cracked.
Yeah.
And people were like, in that moment, were laughing, pointing the finger at him. Well, but look at this fool now, like allocating revenue from Tesla to Bitcoin and fucking like making one of the most, humorous coins, Dogecoin, pop up and just skyrocket because of his influence. And it's just crazy.
Do you have Bitcoin?
Bitcoin, I don't. My coins are with Stellar, XRP, and there's one more. I'm forgetting it right now. I gotta pull it up. Are you involved with the crypto hype right now, or what's your perspective on it?
My perspective is simply this. I originally had $100 in there. It jumped up to 400.
Yep.
I got a little greedy and I threw like 10 bands in there, and then it dropped. I put 10 bands when it was at like 35, 36, 37, and then it dropped down to 32. So I lost a couple, not a lot. I lost like $600. But I said I just put $1,000 in there. A band is $1,000 for people listening. So, or a rack is $1,000.
Yeah.
So I put a rack into crypto, and I'm just gonna leave it there for 30 years, and I hope it turns into $1 trillion.
It's an investment.
That's what I'm gonna do. And then I use Cash App to buy my Bitcoin. So I want to start every time I close a deal. I definitely want to throw $5 in there, but that's the extent of what I'm gonna do with Bitcoin. I get like, even like, I wish if I would have kept that 10 G's in there at 36. It's at like 50,000 or something crazy right now. So I would have been able to turn that into damn near 20 bands if I would have left it. But I freaked out. I lost $600. I freaked out. So I don't like it because it's not backed. I love stocks, but I don't like. So I do a little bit of crypto.
Yeah, that's dope. And it's interesting conversation to have, because when we talked last time, you were talking to me about stocks and how people are doing it in different ways, and how you could start with just $10, $20, and some people do like big investments. At this time, I was really like slowly getting educated on this. Like, I knew about it, but I didn't put my money into it.
Yeah.
And then I started seeing how everything was evolving with crypto, because my brother, he's really like a big, cryptocurrency guy. So he's just telling me about all this shit. And I'm gonna keep it 1,000. I did not listen to him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I did not listen to him for at least 6-7 months. And it wasn't more until recently that I got Coinbase and Binance and Uphold, and I was able to get my little investments. But just seeing how everything is transitioning, the dollar is depleting. You know what I'm saying? The circumstance with COVID, people not. If you think about a dollar, bro, dollar touches so many people's hands in so many places. Like, it's only a matter of time where people realize that, the way that currencies are used is different, So it's an interesting conversation, because no one can really know the future. You know what I mean? But there's some people out there that are very calculated, that know this very well, that are like, I'm gonna be rich on accident.
It's the future, so I'll like it's in my brain, so I'll speak on it. But like in the end times, there's going to be one world money, and I'm afraid that that's like Bitcoin. because it's already like,
let's get into that.
you know what I mean? So it freaks me out a little bit, everything that's going on, but it's also so beautiful at the same time. But I definitely think that like we're on some I'm not gonna get into it, but we're on some stuff.
This whole 2020. So like, you know, before I change the subject, like this whole 2020 to like 2021, it's constantly evolving, constant things happening.
Yeah.
The shifts of like even work, you know, people are working from home now.
Everything's
and that
changed.
should have been happening to be real, because there was a lot of jobs that didn't even need you to be there. You know what I mean? But I feel like a lot of corporate companies didn't really embrace that until more recent because they were forced to. And I think this kind of reminds me of this book I've been reading. It's called Conscious Capitalism. It's by the person that made the CEO of Whole Foods.
Okay.
You know, and some people might have perspectives on him because they think he's capitalist or not, whatever.
Yeah.
But, you know, I like this conversation because I feel like people have put entrepreneurship and people that praise, you know, building income and economic empowerment in a category of capitalism, and like everyone thinks selfishly and have this whole like mindset. But in reality, like I look at it the same way you do. Like if I'm building a foundation, I can help more people.
For sure.
If my cup is filled, I can fill more people's cups.
For sure.
So that's how I look at it. So in the book, they talk about that and how, like, you know, there's some corporates that are very disconnected from the world. So when they buy manufacturers, they're not thinking of like the slave labor. They're not thinking about child labor.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I'm saying? It's like a conscious capitalist, or I would say conscious entrepreneurship. That's the better word.
For sure.
Because that's where I feel like I stand. Like if I know if a person I buy my products from is, you know, involved with some fucking fraudulent shit.
Oh yeah.
I'm not gonna involve myself.
No.
You know what I mean? So like, are you? I mean, I think I kind of already answered this. You already kind of answered this on your question earlier. But do you feel like, you know, the way that people perceive things politically impact the decisions entrepreneurs make every day?
I don't fully understand the question.
Yeah, so like just the way that society is like looking at people building self-income.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that impacts people's thought process on what they do?
So are you saying like do people look down on capitalists?
Yeah.
And I think if you do it right, no. I know no matter what the fuck you do, people are gonna hate on you.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
No matter, so there's no way to beat this unless you're The Rock. Like The Rock is the only human being on earth that has successfully navigated getting everyone to love him.
For real.
And like Ice Cube's like right there. Like The Rock and Ice Cube are cool. Dave Chappelle still gets haters, but you know, like those two guys on earth are like everyone loves them. Besides those two people, you're gonna get haters.
That's so funny that you say that though, because I hella people do love The Rock.
Do you not like The Rock? Who doesn't like it?
Yeah, bro, Jumanji, come on. You're WWE. You're in all the Fast and the Furious movies. I mean, all the later ones.
He's buff as hell.
And he's building hella businesses like all the time.
All day.
Dropped the tequila.
All day.
Yeah,
so,
that's cultural appropriation. No one even talking about that.
So
no, but that's The Rock though. I fuck with The Rock.
So going back to it, I think if you do it right, I feel like you know, we were talking. I have the pop-up shop that's I've been doing. It's a project literally that's based off of entrepreneurship, and I feel like that project is getting a lot of support because almost like your night market. I don't feel like there's a lot of haters for that because we're supporting small businesses. We're bringing people out of the house. So I think if me and you took our same, like honestly, me and you are doing the right thing. Me and you I could not teach anybody anything, and me and you, I could just say, hey BQ, me and you are just gonna take over San Jose. We're gonna do all these Airbnbs. Me and you only are gonna do pop-ups. Me and you are gonna be the only ones. We're gonna capitalize on this because we have a certain knowledge and skill set. So I definitely think that we could pivot into some evil Pinky in the Brain type shit. So I think it's easy to do. It's easy to cut corners. It's easy to be a shady person in the short term. But the reason why me and you are talking and I always hear, oh, do you know BQ? Or, oh, BQ's doing this, or, oh, you guys are the same, is because you hold yourself to a certain standard and I hold myself to a certain standard. And I've had to do business with a lot of people. And even like not every project goes perfectly. You know what I mean? And that's the hardest thing about what I do is that I make shirts and sometimes things won't look fucking super perfect. but I always try to make sure that that person is happy, and I always try to go back. And even if I have to give you your money back or anything, I always try to leave a good taste in your mouth. Even if we don't fuck with each other again, at least you can never be like, oh, JD did me dirty. You'll be like, oh, maybe the product wasn't perfect, but he went all out, and I know that the man did his best. So there's plenty of jobs where, oh, that's what you pay for, that's what you get. But there's plenty of times where I'll take an L. I'll literally taking an L, like I'll lose money. Even this hoodie, this is a mistake. So this one was in my trunk, and I bought bleach spray, and somehow it got bleach on it. You know what I mean? I could have folded it up and hit it all up in the things.
And just been like, oh, yep.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Not right,
I didn't see that. And so what I did was I said, hey, I'm just going to replace it. She didn't like some of the other, because with DTG, it's a type of material. So back to I don't want to get off topic. I don't get involved in nothing. If it doesn't feel right, there's a saying. I'm pretty biblical, so if you've heard, I've used a couple of Bible verses. You know what I mean? I definitely think that I run everything through a biblical, Christ-like filter. I don't know if per se what heaven and hell is, but I definitely think that we've done shady shit and you felt shitty, and you've done good stuff and you felt good. I think that's a version of heaven and hell, just macro and micro. And so
it's deep.
And so I try to do things that when I go to sleep at night, and I don't have to look over my shoulders. They say when you do the right thing, you can run. Nothing will make you stumble. So if you do the wrong thing, then you're stumbling. And they say that when even if you make money from a shady cause, it turns to crumbs. It turns to dust because it's not sustainable.
It's not.
So I go into every project thinking like that.
And that's powerful right there, bro. I didn't even want to interrupt you, because I think, what we're transitioning, this topic is really important. It's integrity. You know what I'm saying? It's a thing that I feel like has gone out the door now with social media and clout and pop culture. And like, there's so many different variables. It's not just like what people are consuming, but it's also just like what we're surrounded by. It's all over. So it's easy to dive into these shortcut paths.
Yeah.
And I think just talking about this is going to be important for our viewers, because I feel like, there are people actively doing bad business and they don't think anything about it until later on, when they realize like, oh, these people don't want to associate with me because I burned a bridge. You know what I'm saying? So, and I feel like a lot of people, need to understand that when you do projects with people, you got to realize, we all have to be on the same page, and you have to make sure that if anything happens on your behalf, you got to take accountability for it and address the problem head on, try to resolve it and meet whatever. If it falls on you, meet whatever, meet halfway if you have to. If, like how you said, when you got the shirts bleached, you didn't give it to her. You chose to like redo it, and it cost you,
$32.
but it didn't cost you the relationship. It just cost you an extra $22 or whatever the amount was. And that's what I'm getting at. Some people sacrifice money, sacrifice a relationship for money.
Yeah.
And, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm perfect and I've never done that, because I've done my fair share of bad things, and I had the experience, the demon that stayed and lingered. But then over time, once my actions changed and my intentions changed, I started realizing like that isn't the right way to do things. The right way to do things is making sure that everyone involved is equally fulfilled by what we're doing. And if it's impacting people, then continue doing it for the right intention.
For sure.
And, and that's the thing that's kind of trippy. And I feel like I've experienced this more with like doing the night market and just doing all these other projects that, once things get to a certain point, a lot of things will start coming sporadically. And it's like, it's really easy to get caught up and be like excited and passionate about all the things, but you have to take it slow and know yourself. I think this applies, this could apply to anyone, but I feel like just know yourself, you know what I mean? Because sometimes you might get ahead of yourself and it's not even the other person. It could just be you know what I'm saying? But
I think speaking on integrity, I think the thing that came to my mind is when you're shady and you get away with it, you get caught at the worst possible time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Real.
You never get caught slipping when you want to get caught slipping. You might say you do bad business, right? So me and you sell a lot of clothes. Say I would have hid this little sweatshirt. She might have sold it. She might have showed it to her girlfriend and been like, "Damn, look what this dude did." And that might have been the buyer for Macy's.
Yep, I was gonna say that, because you don't. Bad news spreads faster than good news, and that's facts.
And anytime I've ever done, I'm not perfect either. Anytime I've ever done anything shady, going into it knowing that it was shady, it bit me at the worst possible time. It bit me and hurt me at the worst possible time that it could. You know what I mean? And I always say like if I can avoid the wrath of God, I am. So I ain't gonna do nothing. You know what I mean? Because me and you can all humble each other, but there ain't nothing like being humbled by that big dog upstairs. You know what I mean? And that, you know, it's one thing to feel pain that will bring it to your knees, dog. So I just try to say, well, like, how can I run the race and enjoy that run? And to me, it's not an enjoyable experience having to look back over your shoulders. You know what I mean? I like just like pure hustling. And I'm from obviously I'm black. My mom used to whoop my ass. So I'm from a different time where you get
nowadays you get hit. People are like, "What are you doing with your child, bro?" You know,
so I'm from a different time.
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, my dad didn't play no games either. I'll tell you that. So I want to talk about some of the projects that that you're working on right now. I was actually talking to D Love earlier, and he was talking about the pop-up event that you guys have, the one that you've been doing. You had, I believe, 2 already, or is it only been one?
No, it's been one. My second one's tomorrow.
The one's tomorrow, which I'm gonna try to slide through if I'm not in Gilroy.
Yeah.
And I think it's dope because not a lot of people have an incubator where they could literally go and showcase their shit.
Yeah.
And on top of that, you have it in the actual real estate, like it's actual place. You know what I mean? So I think that's super fire. Can you talk a little bit about how you put yourself in position to do that and who you're working with to get involved?
So the idea, I've had the idea. I've already seen, even before the pandemic, I seen that pop-up culture was huge.
Yep.
I seen, because I sell a lot of clothes, and if you go to any shopping center, it's very rare that you're gonna see a clothing store that's able to stay successful for a long time. Unless it's like if you go to like certain like Haight and Ashbury, if you go down to LA, there's certain streets where clothing is a staple there.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, independently, it's hard to have a clothing store like a t-shirt shop.
Yeah,
like it'd be very hard to only do that.
Yes.
And so I like the idea of sticking and moving. I like the idea of event-based marketing and branding. And so I always like the idea of a pop-up shop. And so my business partner, shout out to Ram Beer, he had an empty retail space, and he has some real estate. So he had an empty apartment and he had an empty piece of real estate. I came to him and I said, hey, let me Airbnb this spot. It's called, I subleased it from him. So I put money into that, and then I do real estate. So I had to keep a chunk of money in account just so if a real estate deal comes up. So I couldn't spend that. And so he said, hey, I'll give you this retail spot for 3 months rent free, and then after you pay me as a landlord. I said, I don't want to overextend myself right now. So I said, no, thank you. But he was like, we were just talking. He's my boy too.
Yeah.
And we were talking, and I was like, if I was to have this spot, Monday through Thursday, I would have it as like a sandwich shop.
Yeah.
But on, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I would have it as a pop-up shop, because I work with all of these brands and they have no place to go but the internet. Or we talked a little bit about it off mic, the flea market.
Yeah.
Besides that, and random pop-ups, but it's like, that's not, or like a farmer's market.
Yeah.
But there's not a lot of spots for a hip hop clothing brand to set up shop, where it's like, if you go to the flea market, if anybody knows about the flea market, they're gonna try to
bargain with you and shit.
And so a lot of with street clothing,
give me five.
Yeah, like, or they want a $30 t-shirt for $5. Like it's like ridiculous actually.
Yes, especially at Capitol.
Yes, especially at Capitol.
That's my home turf, but still.
Yeah, that's why I started my business. Shout out to Capitol Flea Market. Shout out to the drive-ins.
Yep. Classic.
And all the girls who got their backs blown out there. Can I say that?
I didn't. You're silly, bro. My girl's sitting over there.
So back on point. So back to the pop-up shop. I wanted a place for brands to be able to showcase their stuff. I wanted a place where we could get, where it's not a discount thing like the flea market, where there's a certain level of excitement. And then once the pandemic hits, I wanted, where could I go as a brand and sell some shirts, or I sell books, or I do speaking engagements. Where could I go and set up something? And so a lot of times you have to get real creative. And so I wanted to create a space for people to do that. Literally for like, my main business is printing t-shirts. So if you look at a D Love, if you look at like, shout out to Pierre, if you look at like Significant 7, these are just projects I did today. And if you look at these brands, they don't have a spot to go. So I was like, let me set this up. And so back to my boys conversation, shout out to Ram Beer, my partner, I was like, I would do a pop-up shop. And he said, you know what? while it sits empty, he said, try your idea, see if your idea works. And so we came up with what the booth fee will be. We came up with kind of what will happen with the money. So 50% goes to the landlord. It's not a lot, I think, you know, and then 50% we go to fix up the place. The place needs a new floor. And then eventually we're going to make it aesthetically pleasing. If it's successful, or I can raise enough money, and, you know, we'll see where we're at in 6 months, then maybe I'll secure the lease. But for now, I'm just building it as a brand. And then we, you know what I mean? Pop-up shop types, the night market. And we just create this thing to where when people see that, I could have the pop-up shop here and people know what it is. So that's where it really came from. I told him the idea. He loved the idea. I seen a huge need for it, and that's where it really came from. And the response was huge and still is huge.
And what's your relationship with the property owner?
So you want the long version or you want the short version?
Just a short version, just so people can understand like why networking is so valuable.
So long story short, I do shirts, so I make shirts. So I got a call from my buddy Ralph, and he was like, hey, this dude Rambir needs shirts for his gym. I went into the gym, and me and Rambir were talking about shirts. This was 6, 7 years ago.
Okay,
now
a minute ago.
And so about 7 years ago, and so I went in there and talked shirts. But Rambir had a bookshelf, and he had some business books. And this is before, to show you, Gary Vee wasn't famous. Everyone knows Gary Vee now, if you're in our space. He had a book by Gary Vee, and I had just finished a course by Ty Lopez, and I was like, oh, you know Gary Vee?
Yep.
Gary Vee's how I started selling online. So he knew it, and then I was like, have you read this book? He was like, yeah. It's rare that people at that time especially knew, because social media wasn't as big.
Very low at the time.
So I told myself, I'm going to make this guy my friend. He wound up buying shirts for me, and we became friends. I actually wound up renting one of his places where one of my t-shirt shops was, and then I went through a internship. He's the person who taught me how to be a personal trainer, and so over the years, we've always worked on little projects together. But it all started with me selling him shirts.
And what year was this when you were looking at the book and stuff? Was this 2015, 2016?
Probably before. So we're in 2020, so probably about 2014, 2015. 2014,
okay. So what I want to get at right there is like 5 years ago, 5 years later, you guys are working on another project that's like this big. You know, for some people, that's a big project. You're using real estate. You're promoting other people's brands. You're generating revenue. Everyone's eating. Like, that's beautiful. And the fact that it's like someone that you had met, you know, organically 5 years ago. And this is the importance of like, just, it's not about what you know, it's who you know. And being that genuine person that you are with him, and he seen the value. And I just think that's super powerful right there. What I was going to get at was so it's about to be your second event. Like, so you're just experimenting, you're kind of just flowing it out and just seeing how the outcome goes, or like, what's the next steps from here?
Yes, I am just experimenting. Yes, I'm just feeling it out. Yes, I'm realizing with this project that I'm okay with it becoming its own thing. The goal is to have an Airbnb type model with the space. I want to have a calendar, and I want people to be able to book it.
Nice.
I want you to be able to go
Calendly
in there.
type vibes.
Yeah, Calendly, like, yeah, exactly.
Hell yeah.
I want people to be able to go in there if they have a podcast. I want it to be aesthetically beautiful.
Yeah, like designed specifically for what you're trying to promote.
I want it to be like, I'm just saying, like, when you walk in there, I want it to always be like an empty shell. I'm thinking about making like a froyo shop. I don't know what I would have it Monday through, or leave it like, just keep it a pop-up shop. But I want it to be think of like a wedding hall where you can rent that out and you can book it. I want it to be like a wedding hall, but for
events.
More urban type, like more urban. I don't want it to be like, you're not going to have your wedding there,
or like a corporate event or something.
Yeah, but a lot of people, you can obviously set up a podcast at your house, but a lot of people don't have a place for their podcast. A lot of people don't have a place to showcase their talents. A lot of people don't have a place if they do a pop-up. A lot of people don't have, like, what are you going to do, some random dirt lot, or you know? So I want it to be immaculately beautiful on the inside, and I want it to be a place that people can rent out and do events and do podcasts and do speaking engagements and do, like, all of my boys, like, the biggest thing that you can do with your brand is a product launch. And so a lot of people would just be like, oh, I have this product, but
make an Instagram and then call it a day.
And so I think, you know, I paid for me and my shout out to the camera dude, he's giving real game earlier, but I invested in a course, and it talks about how to do a launch. And so another reason I built this is so that people can have successful launches. So if you look at D Love pushed that January 28th hella hard. And so I would, if in the future, I would want somebody like D Love for him to be able to, on a Friday night, at 7 p.m., a crazy, like, we set the vibes, and I would love for that to be the spot that he premieres his clothing brand. I would love for that to be the spot where you come and you know what I mean? You do a pop-up, but your newest thing, or you like, you know what I want to do? I want to do the live podcast boy. Ooh. So once the country goes back to normal, I would love for either me and you to like interview a big Bay Area artist, or a big, you know what I mean, like some, like Drake or something, but we charge for tickets, Drizzy, and we have it at the pop-up shop. So it's just really a place for people to get creative, and I want it to be affordable. That's kind of the second thing, is something like my booth fee is based off a percentage. So if you don't make any money, you don't have to pay me any money. You know, so you can go in there with no sweat off your back. You know what I mean? And it gets people excited. A lot of these, like, I'm looking at a lot of these people's, shout out to everybody that's going to be at the pop-up shop. February 20th. By the time you guys listen to this, I don't know if it'll be.
Hopefully I get it soon, but it'll probably be a couple weeks later.
So, by the time you listen to this, the pop-up shop will have already gone. But what's happening is crazy. You know what I mean? And so people are really excited. The vendors are really excited. They're on Friday night. Tonight's Friday. There's people right now preparing to be at that pop-up shop. So that energy is crazy. And I'll end on like hustling will save your life, because you give game back to the streets. Now I'm excited. You know what I mean? It's Friday night. We can't go to the club. We can't pop bottles. But now I'm excited because, like, damn, I get to see Shrimpin' Ain't Easy tomorrow. I get to see Whipped Dream Bakery. I get to see Azalea's Desserts, and Simply Sweets. We're doing a dessert theme. So the excitement is what I love. That's the like, you know what I mean? To bring excitement back, like, especially what's going on in the world.
No, I think you're talking about a real serious thing that people don't understand is an issue, that there's not a lot of places where people can go to showcase their stuff, and that's real. And I think that was like with the intention when we did the night market back in October, that there was a lot of people that were struggling financially, and then they didn't have a place to sell because there was permits, regulations, like, especially in San Jose. It's not like Lake Merritt where you can just pull up and set up. You know, I love going over there, but it's a 45, 55-minute drive. Not all the time going to be in the best position to do that. At least in San Jose, I could be like, you know what, let's go downtown, Chavez Park. I've done that before too. It's actually a good spot when it's busy. But you see lately it's been dead. It's not like, you know, the only place you can guarantee traffic right now is the flea markets in San Jose. But
and they're gonna not saying, like, honestly, if you're a new brand, like, I always tell people to try everything.
For sure.
But they're gonna try to discount you.
That's facts. And you know, it's important to sell the price you want your products to be sold for. You know, people respect it enough, they're gonna spend it, and if they want to support you, at least. But yeah, dude, I'm really happy that, you know, we know each other, bro, because, you know, you're doing some amazing things, and I'm happy to see how everything plays out over time. Because I think what you're doing right now is gonna be big in a matter of time. Because in Oakland they do something similar, like with trap art, and they use that venue called Complex. They do something very similar, and I feel like they constantly are feeding a demographic that loves this shit. You know, and we got the same interest. You know, seeing people over here has the same exact interest, and I'm excited. I'm actually excited to see how it all plays out, and when we get a chance to do something together.
The thing that I realize, especially I seen it, and I'm always watching. The thing that I seen is people are bored, right? Even before the pandemic, like, you can only go to Santana Row so much. You can only go to the club and pop bottles. Like, people love that. Shout out to my little 21-year-olds that's their thing. But I really wanted to. Right now, it's in the beginning stages. But I sat down and talked to the people who created trap art. I tried to do a party with them over at Avery. It's a husband and
Amalia and her husband. Yeah,
they just had their
power couple.
Super power couple, and I love what they're doing. They do it all over the country. And so I'll actually even talk about a goal, but I wanted to create, I still to this day, I want to create an experience. When I think about a product launch, I don't think you're just coming in and looking at a shirt. I want we call it ethos. I went to Vegas, and I went to the bar and nightclub, and they talked about ethos. I want to really control the smell, the sounds, the lighting. I shout out to Nappy, owner of Avery. He really helped push me and teach me how to throw a good party. But I want a nice, like, you come in and it's just, you know what I mean? Like, the vibe is right, and you get a glass of champagne, and you talk about us not being on the map. I feel like even like as hustlers are not creating a dope ass experience for the end user. I feel like we are lazy right now. I'm talking about myself. I'm talking about, you know what I mean? BQ goes hard, I go hard, but a lot of the people, when I look at people's brands, we said it. They just set up a little website and they post, "Hey, buy my shit."
Yep.
But there's no experience.
There's no substance.
There's no entertainment. There's no like. You think about if you go to a Drake show or a Kanye show or
they got the fucking owl and shit, OVO. You know,
that's who you're competing against.
Yep.
And so until you can get your product or brand at that level, you'll never live like Drake.
Yep.
And so every day I think that's my competition is. I think like, how the fuck can I beat Drake?
Yeah.
Excuse my French, you know, but how can I create an experience that rivals what Drake has going on? And so that's pretty much what I think about, and that's how and so when you look at the pop-up shop, yeah, it's basic, but if you look at everything I do, like if you look at my Airbnb, if you go to my Airbnb right now, I have 3 arcade games in my shit. I have NBA Jam, I have the shooter game, I have the Pac-Man. It has like 10 games on there, but I want to create an experience for people.
Because someone might see that shit on the screen, they'll be like, "Oh shit, they got games. I'm going." Yeah. They ain't even think twice.
You gotta go. You know what I mean? Because what is your competition? Oh, just a hotel.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Hotel ain't got no games. You know, so
facts.
it's I'm always trying to create a next level experience for people. Even in the content that I create, I want it to add value, but I want it to give you a feeling. You know what I mean? I just feel like we're being lazy as hustlers out here, and if we want to put our names on the map, we're gonna have to bring the heat as a city. And I think that's why I love what D Love's doing. That's why I love what Rare Living did. That's why I love what you do. Is because it's time to. I made that shirt.
I know. I was gonna tell you. I was like, wearing your product. Facts.
It's time for us. As I don't know where to look, but it's time for us to bring the heat in everything that we do, and it's time for us to go hard for our city and put us on the map and create a dope experience so that people want to come to the Bay Area and like, damn, we gotta go see BQ. Damn, we gotta go see JD. You know?
They got to tap in. And that's what's happening, bro. It's only a matter of time when people in other places geographic going to be like, damn, be part of the culture. What are they doing over there in Silicon Valley? Oh, BQ, what are they doing over there with like, what's going on? And I feel like it's slowly getting to that point. But what I really wanted to highlight was just like your illustration of passion. Like it, for the viewers, like for the ones that are in that process of developing their product or their service, just be mindful of like these little details and these little levels that you want to push if you're really passionate about what you're doing. And if you're finding dislike in the things he's talking about, maybe you should look in the mirror and be like, do I really want to do this? Is this something I actually love? Is this something I want to do? Because when I do all the stuff I'm doing with Emlyn, I'll do it for free for the rest of my life because I know I love it. And it's just, and having that attitude, eventually within time, the benefits will come. But I'm not doing it with the intention to be rich. I'm doing it with the intention to uplift our culture that I'm so passionate about. You know what I mean? From the hip hop to the fashion to everything. But yeah, man, we got 2 passionate ass motherfuckers in the building, and I want to also get your input. I've been following a nonprofit called San Jose Spotlight. I don't know if you ever heard of them.
Nah, I'll follow them. Remind me after.
So they're a news article. They're like, there's few news outlets in San Jose that are local, but I feel like SJ Spotlight has been really standing out to me because they're really highlighting local issues, things going on in the council, shit happening in our communities, actual shit. You know what I mean? Because if you watch Bay Area NBC, they're not highlighting San Jose 24/7. They're highlighting Oakland, San Francisco, Vallejo. So we're missing a lot of things. So a lot of the stories that I was recently reading about was about the battle that they're having about voting for the billboards in San Jose to make it look like a Times Square. So it's like, and there's a lot of things that are showing evidence that San Jose is going towards a crazy path in the sense of like what it could look like for someone outside in. Yeah. So when they come, they're going to be like, I got to go to San Jose. They got some crazy shit over there. Yeah. You got the Google campus, you got this whole billboard thing happening. All the retail space they're building between Alameda and Santa Clara Street, that's supposed to be like a 2-layer retail. You know what I'm saying? There's going to be so many different things happening. So I just kind of want to get your thoughts on like, well, I want to start with the billboard thing because a lot of people are against it because they're saying like, oh, it's just going to allow people to gentrify our culture more. They're going to change the narrative, which I'm on both sides. Yeah. Because I feel like having some digital billboards that, would be an opportunity for some people out here to advertise their things is a good opportunity. But at the same time, let's be real, those things aren't going to be as affordable as like the billboards we have now. For sure. So it's going to limit who exactly is going to advertise their shit. So I don't know. I just want your thoughts on, just the things that's happening in San Jose.
I haven't thought too deeply, but off the bat, I'm a capitalist. So I think that if I'll say this right now, shout out to, you know what I mean, I love my city, San Jose, and I rep San Jose, and I want a piece of property in San Jose, and no matter where I go in this world, San Jose is home. I'll start there. But San Jose is dry. You know what I mean? San Jose, if you look at what the police have done to our nightlife, if you look at what we got 3 clubs, obviously before the pandemic, you know what I mean? Everybody just goes to these 3 clubs. Like, they really shut it down. You can't really be free. So it's like, I would love to have a, you know, I don't want to say LA, but I would love to have our own type of thing. I would love to have cool billboards. I would love to have a futuristic city. I don't like sometimes when regulation stops creativity, because obviously I don't want to just like 50 billboards and light pollution and things like that. But if you can do it, like who doesn't want to? I went to New York. You know what I said? I want to go to Times Square. Times Square got a gang of billboards.
And they have artists sometimes that pop up on there. They might not be no local artists, but the point is that it's culture. You see what I'm saying? I'm like, that opens the door for people that are successful in these different industries to do some shit involving the city. And that's the thing, like for me, like when we do the culture night market and the fact that we were doing it on 2nd and San Carlos, that shit made me feel so good, because I remember at a time period we were doing our events in Morgan Hill. Like, we couldn't even get close to downtown.
That's crazy.
So it's like the fact that I'm seeing hip hop being played out loud and like people performing, I'm like, this whole vibe, it's like you don't get that a lot. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, obviously the billboard thing isn't specifically like it's going to help the culture.
I think if I could say something like to help the culture, I like the idea that, so I'm for the billboards, but I would love how they have Create TV where you can damn near go in and get free video and stuff editing. I would love for them to have a program to where, you know, damn near 20% of the stuff goes on these billboards is geared towards small businesses and geared towards San Jose and geared towards people of even minority. It doesn't have to be but maybe minority business. Somebody who has
just diversity.
I would love to see a sense of like you can get your Toyotas and your freaking
Fords and all that shit.
All that type stuff on these billboards and your big names, your P. Diddy's. But I would love for a BQ to be able to use the space, a part of the culture to use the space, promote the pop-up shop. I would love for it to be part of it, to bring some light to the beautiful citizens in this city.
And I think that's my point with that. My angle with that is like, I'm not against it, but I think there needs to be some inclusion for some people that can't afford it, but they're actively in that position to represent it. You see what I'm saying? Create TV, they doing a lot of amazing things, helping videographers rent equipment. Like, they can even put their shit on TV. And there's channels for them. I've been talking to them as well, and some other people I know network with them. It's funny because everyone that's in the game, bro, like you and I, anyone that's like, we all know everyone.
For
like,
sure.
Everyone knows everyone. You know what I mean?
Anybody who's doing anything, you rise to the top real quick. Like, you get known, you know what I mean? It's hard not to like rub shoulders with the movers and shakers. San Jose is not that big.
I always call it the biggest, smallest city, because like it's physically big, but it's like everyone is connected some way, shape, or form. But I hear people say that about every other city too. So it might just be like, I don't even get out here enough. But what I also wanted to talk about is the last thing I wanted to get your point of view with that might help people that are doing content is the new algorithm has changed, and it's not based on it used to be chronological, and then the algorithm changed where it was based on your likes and engagement on comments, and now it's based on repost and people that archive your posts is the prioritized, and then the last one is the likes. So what's your what's your advice to someone that wants to figure out the new algorithm with what I just told you? Like, what's your first thoughts?
I don't think about the algorithm. I think if you focus on adding value to people's lives, then you will stand out on Instagram and anything. Because the thing is if a lot of people will look at a video and say like, damn, 100 people watched it, or damn, 10,000 people watched it. But did they learn anything from that video? Are they a better person from that video? Do they have more information? And when I say add value, do you help people reach their goals? So if you look at 90% of my content, it's to help people reach their goals. If like, I don't know how many people are, but I'm just looking for BQ to watch it and be like, damn, I felt that. Let me bring part of the culture on. Like, I'm not doing, like, I don't care if 10 million people watch my stuff. Only reason I would want 10 million people to watch my stuff is so I can impact 10 million
you could
people.
do more shit.
But
with
a lot of people are so focused on an algorithm. Not saying like, if that's what you want to focus on, I don't care. But a lot of people are so focused on the algorithm that we forgot that business is about serving other human beings and about adding value to other human beings. So I personally don't care about the algorithm. I never cared about the algorithm. I'm just going to drop shit that helps other people succeed. And I go everywhere and people are like, oh, you do Airbnb. Oh, you do this. Oh, you do that. And so it lets me know that, okay, hey, what I'm doing is good, but I've never not once ever even cared about an algorithm.
And I think that's big because, you know, people that are passionate about what they are putting out there, all they do is care about is the craft. And I agree with that. You know, with the podcast, I just been hand selecting people I want to interview because a lot of people are always asking to interview. They're always asking like, hey, can I be on your content? And a lot of times, like, if I say no or I don't want to, it's not because anything against them. It's just I don't see value in like our conversation.
For
you know what I'm saying? Like I want people to actually engage in what we're talking about because there's something they can take away from it.
Yeah, you that's what it's about.
And I challenge people, you know, I'm like, hey, maybe not right now, but I think there's some way we can collaborate. I need to see more. Yeah. And sometimes, you know, my thing is I want to always challenge people. You know what I mean? Like I don't want it to be like, there's some people that think they don't even ask. They just tell me. Yeah. They're just like, hey, I need this post. I'm like, bro, you don't even know my name. You over here. You know what I'm saying? So it's an interesting dynamic. But to what we were talking about earlier, though, is just like I appreciate people that are mindful of their craft and how they put it out. Because the algorithm is there, but it shouldn't be everything you pay attention to.
Yeah, it's and then it's like a catch-22. If you create good shit, people will archive it.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean.
Off tops, especially those like posts where they like break down something. Yeah, slide left, slide right, and it breaks down some. Like that's something I would save. Yeah. So that was like that's what I was trying to get at. Was like what type of content would people utilize? You know what I'm saying? So that's what I was trying to get at.
I think So I just know for me, if you look at my brand, I like to create stuff that, like a specific example, I just did a podcast. So it's funny what my podcast is turning into. I still use it. The number one thing of my podcast is to add value. So when I create content, I create it in a way to uplift another individual. So a lot of people, if you look at most girls' podcast or a lot of dudes, it's going to be pictures of them and their homie. If I I get excited when I look at my platform, my Instagram, and it's somebody else on there, or it's me and somebody else. Because if you want your stuff to get shared, uplift another human being, and they're gonna show it to their people. You know what I'm saying? Like me, when this releases, I'm gonna watch it. So I'm gonna share it. I'm gonna share it with I'm gonna archive it. I'm gonna do all of the things that Instagram wants me to do. So BQ already locked in. Work with others. And you know, it's something I actually wanted to speak on earlier, like collaborate with other individuals that are like-minded. You see, why did the first one have success? Because it was a collaboration. So when you create your content, work with others and uplift others, and other people will uplift you. But if your content's only about me, it's not gonna last long.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think I've even seen that, like, you know, we've been doing interviews since 2016. Everything has always been about, you know, who I'm interviewing. So just naturally, people are always just constantly promoting themselves. You see what I'm saying? It ends up being like, wow, I'm helping this person get noticed in other places. So it's a great feeling. I think it's definitely the key is collaboration and just servicing other people. So the last thing I want to end this off with is I want you to kind of like, you know, speak directly to the camera for the viewer that is watching this that maybe already know who we are, you know what I'm saying? Or there's someone that's barely getting introduced to you. And I think last time I asked you some advice you would give someone. So I don't want to ask you that question this time. I guess it's like, you know, what is your goals for 2021? We're 49 days into 2021. There's about, I don't know the math. I'm not going to act like I know. But it's definitely 49 days into the new year.
For sure.
So what's the goals for this year? And, you know, what's the attitude and the approach with those goals?
So first off, I'm having a baby.
Oh, shit.
So
congratulations.
I'm having a baby in June. So my first and biggest goal is to have a healthy baby.
Congratulations.
And be an amazing father.
It's amazing.
That's first and foremost. I don't even have to think about that one. I could damn near cry. But to answer your question, my biggest goal is to really just continue, honestly, just to continue to serve and like when I pray or I meditate, it's just to really enjoy the journey. So anything I'm doing, whether I'm driving to work, or if I'm driving to see BQ, or if I'm sitting with BQ, or if I'm at the pop-up shop, or if I'm dreaming about doing this thing, it's to really be present and enjoy it. Because I'm getting older now. I'm 35, and life's quick. And so it's not about like, oh, tomorrow when the pop-up shop is going, will I feel good? I feel as good now as I do tomorrow. So it's really about being present and enjoying what's going on right now, enjoying how this couch feels, enjoying seeing your girl work, enjoy seeing and working with the camera people, enjoy seeing this, enjoy seeing what we've done in a year, enjoy everything, enjoy hearing my voice in the mic, enjoy being able to just vibe out with a dope individual. You know what I mean? Enjoy how this water tastes, enjoy driving home to my girl, enjoy dropping off packages, enjoy. So we touched on it, but that's why you can't do shady shit, because it takes you out of a state of enjoyment. And so to really just enjoy this journey called life, and really trust the process, and really trust that I'm in this building talking in this mic for a reason, trust that the pop-up shop was brought in my life, trust that Airbnb, trust that everything that's going on is happening, and it's you know, God is revealing to me what is happening. And I'll end on enjoyment is the biggest thing, but I'm realizing that I'm creating an ecosystem for people to thrive. I'm creating an ecosystem. I don't even want to use me. We and the people that I work with have been able to create an ecosystem to help people become successful. So I think the biggest like hard thing that I'm doing is to make that ecosystem strong, to where you can come and you can meet me, and we could get you investing in stocks. We could get you learning about crypto. We can get you learning how to do podcasts. We can get you learning how to drop a clothing brand, and how to do a launch, and and then at the end of the day, realize that, we can teach you all of this stuff, but if you don't enjoy who you are as a person, you're not going to enjoy any of that shit. And so it's really creating that ecosystem and just enjoying life.
Wow. That is very, very powerful right there, my friends, because I think to make it in one statement is smell the flowers, you know what I'm saying, for people that are working very, very hard, because I think a lot of people are, you know, if they're in a tough situation, they're working their ass off to get in a better one right now. So I definitely think that, you know, along the way, while things will get better, because things will get better, you know what I mean? Especially if you're already in a down place, the only way direction from there is up. So I think I definitely agree with that, and I think it's important to smell the roses, because you can never promise tomorrow too, you know.
Hell no.
And I think it's important to just love and enjoy what you're doing. And I'm guilty of it. Sometimes I'm too hard on myself, because I'm like, oh, I want things to be like this. I want to. I gotta do this media. I don't have enough time. You know, I end up stressing myself out, and then I'm realizing like I'm not even having fun no more. So I definitely think that you spoke to me right now with what you're saying. So I'm definitely gonna take this advice as one of the viewers as well. And
I want to ask, what's your biggest goal of 2021?
Oh shit, you're asking me some serious questions now. Well, I think I was just writing my goals down on a paper right now on my book. Let me see.
Message. Make sure you guys write your goal.
I'm gonna grab it.
So while he's grabbing his goals, one of the biggest things that helped me become successful, you've heard that I do a lot of stuff, is at least 2-3 times a week I write down what my goals are, and then I write down who can I help, and I just knock those out.
All right, so I didn't finish them, because normally when I write my goals down, I write personal, business, family, travel, you know, goals in different categories.
I like that.
Because I feel like it's really easy to look at life in just one perspective, when life isn't all about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Life is also about work-life balance, having family. You know, you were talking about, you know, your unborn child and all these things that are important that, you know, sometimes we lose sight of.
Yeah.
So I like to categorize them like that. That's how I do them. But since I didn't finish it, my goals for 2021 is to move out to a new apartment.
Okay.
Pay off the debt I owe. Because that has been a common problem for people my age in this time period. So that's really important for me to finish that off this year, get a new car, and to license Culture Night Market, and create that as an official event for the year every month until summertime, starting March. So that's one of the goals. And eventually I want to have, you know, an exclusive staff working directly with me and having them paid, making this like an actual, you know, occupation for people. That's one of my goals, and that's pretty much it. So what I wrote down though is I wrote down that I want to get it done in 6 months. So I'm forcing myself, like kind of like the 10X strategy with Grant Cardone. Some might think he's an asshole. Some might
I
think
love
he's smart, whatever.
GC. He's a
But-
genius. He's a
Yeah,
fucking genius.
I was watching recently his interview with what's his name, the Wall Street guy. What's his
Yeah.
name? And he was just they were going back at it, back and forth, talking shit. He's saying he's a fucking idiot. He's fucking, you know what I mean? It's hilarious. But you know, Grant Cardone has proven success though.
He ripped a bunch of people off.
Yeah, so
And that's his claim to fame. And Grant
Yeah.
Cardone's like, you got famous for ripping people off.
yeah, exactly. So it's like it's a double-edged sword with that shit. But it was funny though because I did take away the 10x strategy from Grant Cardone, and I do apply that with life because you know if I did set an exponential goal and I'm like working my ass off towards it, but if I fall short, hey, I accomplished more than what I thought I was capable
Yeah.
of doing because now you're pushing that limit. So yeah, and another thing is that I was just telling my girl this morning, I was like, you know what, I feel like the way things are playing out right now, they're picking up at a pace that I need to be focused. So like I wanted to, have you heard of the 75 hard challenge?
No.
It's with, have you heard of Andy Frisella?
Yeah.
So Andy Frisella
love
has that
Andy
yeah,
Frisella.
great podcast too. He has this thing called the 75 hard challenge where basically you commit 75 days of no drinking, no smoking, read 10 pages a day and eat healthy
Oh,
for
I love
75
that.
days straight.
Have you started it?
I did it before actually.
You did 75?
I did 61.
Okay.
And I was just kind of like, oh, we were my homies, Thanksgiving, you know, it was
Yeah.
just like
I'm going to look
it
into
didn't make
that.
it right. It didn't make it right.
I'm going to do the 75.
But I think like when you're in a moment when like you start to see all the plays align, like the stars start aligning, you're like, this is the moment that I've been working my ass off for.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna let it go to waste.
For sure.
I gotta fucking get it. No ifs or buts. So I feel like the excuses I've given myself have been things that I've done on my own. Like these are bad choices, not bad mistakes. So it's like if I were to just eliminate these distractions, eliminate these things that put me in a position to be weak and not execute, I'm not gonna risk it. And I actually heard this in a Nipsey Hussle interview, and that's the only reason why I do it, because of the way he viewed it. He was like, I smoke weed, I do this and that, but when I got my projects online, I got something really important, I'm focused. And I'm like not even drinking, I'm not smoking, I'm focused.
Yeah.
So I feel like, you know, just applying those things and kind of like in my own way. But Andy Frisella's 75 hard challenge isn't easy though. I did 61 last time. I didn't do 75.
I'm going to try it.
It's worth it.
I think so if I don't know if we might have talked about it, but my claim to fame was when I was like 24, 25, my uncle challenged me to stop drinking and smoking. And I thought he was crazy.
Yeah.
And you know, some circumstances led to me it was like the day I actually got a DUI when I was 21.
Yeah.
And I never took care of it. And my uncle had been in my ear 3-4 years later. And I finally had to take care of it, wound up having to go to jail and for just like a week. But wound up taking care of it. And then I was in the DUI program, thought it was going to be shit, but the teacher was amazing. And he did like the 25 things of addiction. And I felt like he was talking to me. And that night I was like, I used to big blaze, big drink. And that night I whatchamacallit, I smoked that night and I said, I'm not going to smoke or drink he said, don't even quit forever. He said, try it for 6 months.
Yeah.
That 6 months of not drinking and smoking changed my life. I paid off all my debt. I saved more money than I ever saved my entire life. I was able to buy a motorcycle and it gave me a level of clarity. So I only drink on New Year's, my birthday, and when 1 or 2 days when I'm on vacation.
Yeah.
Just during
the occasions.
Just during the pandemic, I've smoked a little weed here and there. But if there was no pandemic going on, because of when you're working and hustling and running so many projects, you have to be on point.
Yeah.
So it's very hard to. Some people, they're not a stumbling block. You look
Yeah.
at Burner or something. He looks like he can smoke all day and become a
Yeah, still
millionaire.
fucking still shit. Yeah.
You know, but some people, those things, you have to realize what your stumbling blocks
Yeah,
are.
self-awareness. That's what I was getting at, you know, because I started realizing that, like, maybe I need to slow down a little bit. And maybe I'm having a third perspective, someone telling me, like, you know, because I love smoking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I smoke my weed. You see, I got my pen right here. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I don't give a fuck. I love weed. I even tell my job, like, I'm an advocate for weed, you know? But the thing is, though, is that there's certain time periods when it's good to filter it. I'm not like how your teacher told you. It's like, don't cut it forever.
Yeah.
Just when it matters, or at least for this time period.
Nipsey said it perfect.
Yeah. So, you know, for me, the 75 days are essential. And then after, you know, I feel like once I proved it to myself, then I'll know what I want. And you know what's
Yeah.
crazy is that when I was doing it those 61 days, the hardest was the first 21 days, the first 20, 30 days.
Yeah.
After, I had no desire. I didn't realize I didn't have a desire.
I promise you, I'm looking it up tonight, and I might smoke tonight. And
That's what I'm saying. I might kill this and like have one more blunt. I'm still. I was just telling her this morning, so I don't know.
Yeah,
what day
I'm
yet.
doing that challenge. It called me.
Let's just do it together, bro.
Yeah,
let's
I'm
just
down.
do it together. We'll just call it. We'll decide on a day.
Yeah, I'm super down.
You want to do it right now? Are you feeling that ballsy, or you want to wait it out?
I'll start tomorrow.
I'm going tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right, we'll decide when. But the point is, we were gonna conclude this earlier. So the folks now know your goals for 2021. And the pop-up shop is tomorrow.
Yes.
We'll throw a highlight video on here since we won't get a chance to be there, but we'll throw some type of clips on there.
For sure.
And, any last minute things you want to tell the folks in San Jose and the folks tuning in?
I love y'all. I love the support that you guys been giving me. I love the energy of San Jose. This is my home. For those of you who don't know, I was born in Los Angeles, but I moved out here when I was 11. So I definitely got love for my LA city, but San Jose is where it's at. We do big business out here. We talking eBay, we talking Googles, we talking Netflix. I fuck with the Bay. It's big business out here. You know what I mean? So I fuck with y'all. I love y'all. All the support, everybody who's come out to the pop-up shop, every brand that spent money with me, every brand that's even slid in my DM, everyone who said anything nice to me, every citizen of the Bay Area and the world, I love y'all.
Hey, man, straight love right there, man. Bay Area, shout out to Silicon Valley, shout out to San Jose, first and foremost, and even a little love to LA, man. We got respect for all California. But yeah, man, once again, thank you so much for taking the time to come down here. I know you're busy, man. We all busy, but we glad we made this happen. It ain't exclusive. If it ain't an Emlyn exclusive, it's your boy BQ. This is the Emlyn Podcast. My guy JD, and we out.
We out.
Peace.